Hello, I'm Raisa Chantami of the Indonesia channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta. Welcome to ASEAN Today, your weekly look at the dynamic Southeast Asia region. Two elections in the region are causing uncertainty before the final results are in. First, here in Indonesia. Incumbent President Joko Widodo was the winner in nearly every exit poll after the voting on April 17th. World leaders congratulated him for a nearly 10% victory margin. But challenger Prabowo Subianto also claimed victory, complaining of widespread cheating as he did when the two faced off 5 years earlier. Final official results will be released on May 22nd. Thailand is still waiting for a government as tensions rise following the voting on March 24th. Results are still unknown after unexpected delays in the counting process. The country's election commission said system failure and human error were to blame for confusing information released to the public. This was the first general election held since the coup in 2014, when the current ruling National Council for Peace and Order came into power with Prayut Chan-o-cha as prime minister. The winner here is scheduled to be announced on May 9th. Leaders of Malaysia and Singapore are working to defuse border conflicts. The prime ministers of both countries vowed on April 9th to solve disputes over airspace and maritime boundaries that cropped up since Mahathir Mohamad again became Malaysia's leader. They managed to agree on airspace border in Malaysia's south across from Singapore and diffused a dispute over overlapping port boundaries in the narrow Johor Strait. The two countries agreed to revert to previous boundaries for now and not allow any commercial activities or government vessels to enter the disputed waters. But on the most contentious topic, the two leaders still differ sharply on the decades-old deal requiring Malaysia to provide raw water to Singapore. Although small in size, Singapore is a giant when it comes to attracting scores of global businesses looking to ride the wave of Asian growth. Besides having one of the lowest corporate tax rates, Singapore is also considered by many as the global gateway to ASEAN. Data shows that 46% of multinational corporations have chosen the city-state for their regional headquarters in Asia. Social media giant Facebook picked Singapore for its regional headquarters and its first ever data center in Asia. Procter & Gamble has a state-of-the-art innovation center in the city-state. And now British technology firm Dyson is moving its corporate headquarters there as well.
Singapore is a good expatriate location, good schools and safe, secure and well-connected and so on. Singapore also offers a decent sort of trade-off in terms of availability and cost and productivity.
While some attribute the Dyson move to Brexit, most experts believe Singapore was chosen for its low corporate tax rate and its strategic position in Southeast Asia. The Singapore Economic Development Board says companies foresee that their markets would be dominated by Asian consumers. Western companies have long used Singapore to tap into the Asian market. Recently, more Chinese companies are using Singapore as a launch pad to go global. Chinese tech startup Yitu is a pioneer in artificial intelligence. The company picked Singapore as the location for its first research and development center outside China.
It is a commerce hub, economic hub, and also a technology hub. So by setting our overseas headquarters in Singapore, it gives us very good reference cases for other regions in Southeast Asia and beyond. We have benefited greatly from the Economic Development Board of Singapore, which has been a great helping hand in helping us set foot in Singapore and also introducing us to local partners.
Singapore's multiple free trade agreements with China, ASEAN, the European Union, and the United States also add to its attractiveness. These agreements make cross-border trading cheaper and easier, but all great successes come with their own set of challenges. One big challenge for Singapore is the steady availability of talent.
R&D needs a lot of scientific manpower, right? And I think Singapore is trying to develop that scientific manpower. Singapore is also kind of very pragmatic, government is very pragmatic, so they will cover shortfall in manpower with inward immigration, so they might allow scientists to kind of come here and work here and so on.
A strong business ecosystem and the government's continued push for innovation work in Singapore's favor. But analysts warn that rising costs and a shortage of skilled manpower could hurt the Lion City's position as the preferred business destination in Asia. For now, Singapore has been ranked as the world's second easiest place to do business in a World Bank 2018 report. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly. Reviving a railway deal in Malaysia with China. Leaders are in the hot seat. You're watching ASEAN Today. I'm Raisa Chantami in Jakarta. Plans for a 640-kilometer railway line on Malaysia's east coast is back on track. Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad cancelled the deal when he took office last May. But rather than abandon the development project as well as face a penalty of $5 billion, both sides have worked out a new deal.
It is our belief that ACRL will serve as a stimulus to economic growth and development, especially in the East Coast, attract investment along the railway corridor, as well as generate significant employment opportunities. CCCC has agreed to participate in the operation and maintenance of ECRL through a 50-50 joint venture company and will provide technical support and share the operational risks after the project's completion.
中马互为传统友好邻邦和重要的合作伙伴，双方都高度重视彼此之间的友谊与合作。两国政府部门和企业一直就有关项目保持密切沟通。我们乐见双方通过友好协商，最终达成了解决方案。我们也希望双方能够早日恢复项目建设，把好事儿办好，扩大互利共赢。
China can play a very big role, not least because it is a very big country. They can play a role in growing the economy of the world by their own action. And certainly for Malaysia, this has already happened. When China decided to open up its market, Malaysia is one of the beneficiaries of that opening up. But I'm quite sure other nations also benefited. Even Europe and America would benefit because China is a big market. At the same time, the Chinese have been able to reduce the cost of production, which have helped many countries to reduce their cost of living. China has much that it can contribute towards the development of the world, including the developing countries.
The new $10.6 billion deal also ensures that China will use local companies for 40% of construction, up from 30%. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly. Why Indonesia wants to lock the door on the world's largest lizards. This is ASEAN Today, coming to you from Jakarta, home of the ASEAN Secretariat. Thailand's royal palace announced that the king will be officially crowned during 3 days of ceremonies. The country has begun preparing for the festivities, as ASEAN Today's Fawzul Azim reports.
Thailand has begun to collect sacred water across the country to be used in the coronation of King Maha Vajiralongkorn. The event will take place from May 4th to the 6th in the capital Bangkok. The 66-year-old king became Thailand's constitutional monarch after the death of his father, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, in 2016, following a 70-year reign. At this ceremony, held deep in the thick jungles of northern Thailand, palace officials bowed to a portrait of the king and made offerings. From an ornamental well, sacred water was transferred to a silver urn. After being prepared for transport, it is carried up the hill. In every province in Thailand, similar ceremonies are taking place. The water will be transported back to Bangkok, representative of a unified kingdom, in which the king will bathe to complete his succession to the throne.
Using the water has a significant meaning that he will transform from being the human being and to be the god. Because of the Thai belief, according to the Brahmins, the king is the god from the heaven.
To the Northern Aka tribes people, adorations of the royal family has a business history. They grow coffee, a crop not native to northern Thailand, but now a mainstay of the local economy in part due to royal guidance.
In the past, we grew opium as our main crop. Then the Queen came to visit these faraway areas and encouraged us to change our illegal crops into coffee.
The nationwide run-up to the coronation is an entirely new experience for most Thais, as the last coronation was 69 years ago. The rituals and pageantry will continue until May 6th, when their new king formally takes his seat on the throne. Fauzul Azim for ASEAN Today.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. English singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran will be live at the Gelora Bung Karno Stadium in Jakarta on May 3rd. Sabah Fest 2019 will take place from May 3rd to the 5th in Sabah, Malaysia. And the Singapore International Festival of Arts will be held from May 16th to June 2nd across the island state. Protecting one of its most valuable natural assets is the reason Indonesia may close the door to its Komodo dragons. ASEAN Today's Wendy Widiantini has the story.
Indonesia is considering temporarily closing the popular Komodo National Park to tourists starting next year to protect its popular visitor attraction. The Komodo dragon is one of the most endangered species in the world, with roughly 1,700 left on the island. This park is one of the last places in the world for people to see the large lizards in its natural habitat. Although the plan would have a significant impact on regional income, experts say the move is important to boost the Komodo population on the island. That's because wildlife smuggling has become a huge problem. Police in East Java recently arrested 5 people accused of trading Komodo dragons and other protected animals on social media, supposedly for medicinal purposes.
Yes, it's a worrying situation. What used to be traditional businesses now has moved into online. And because of that, it's very difficult to trace. But the government has also taken few steps ahead, including the investigation in the cybercrime unit, to try to mitigate trading of wildlife specimens online.
But those in the tourism industry worry that their businesses will suffer if the park is closed for too long. In 2017, more than 120,000 tourists visited the park, and from January to August 2018, the total visitors to the island exceeded 120,000 people.
As you know, many big investment are doing there. There are many new hotels. They invest transportation. They invest the boat, the life aboard. They invest the diving equipment. Years by years, the government of Indonesia is promoting for wonderful Indonesia with the logo of this giant lizard, our lovely Komodo. And as we know, overseas friends, their planning is about 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years before.
Teji said the problem is not tourism, but rather unsupervised locals who turn to smuggling. Indonesia's Environment Ministry say the temporary closure will not only help to increase the Komodo dragon population, but also allow them to develop better tourism facilities. It would only affect Komodo Island and not the other 2 islands in the national park. Winnie Widiantini for ASEAN Today.
We like hearing from you throughout the ASEAN region and the world. All of our episodes are posted on YouTube, so check us out there if you can't find us on your local TV channel. Then let us know what you're thinking about or what you want to see on the program. Email us at ASEANTodayTV@gmail.com, post something on our Facebook page or tweet us at ASEAN Today TV. Residents who faced some of the world's worst traffic jams finally got relief. Indonesia's first mass transit system began rolling on March 24th in Jakarta, with the first line linking the iconic Hotel Indonesia traffic circle in the center to the south of the city. The new system projects a daily passenger capacity of 65,000 this year, doubling in 3 years' time. The minimum fare was set at 8,500 rupiah or 60 cents for the first 10 kilometers traveled. And that's ASEAN Today for this week. I'm Raisa Chantami of the Indonesia channel in Jakarta. Terima kasih. Please join us again next time.